Hey guys, welcome to Financial Foundations. I'm Shannon. This is Hall.
And we are both advisors here at Benchmark. We have been helping people Benchmark's been around for 21 years now. And then this week we were talking about budgeting. And so, Shannon, what questions do we have in store for us?
Well, the whole month of March is dedicated to the topic, and today we're going to talk about two questions. The first is, which budgeting tools do you recommend? These are questions that we get from clients.
Very frequently.
The frequently asked FAQs, if you will. And then the second question that we'll talk about is, how do you budget with irregular income? If any of those apply to you or interest you, stick around. Do you want to start or should I?
I'll go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
With irregular income, it is something, it's difficult to initially wrap your mind around. A lot of people view budgeting as, hey, I've got X amount coming in and X amount going out, and it's fixed. It's easy. And when you hit that first hurdle of, oh, I don't know what's coming in, it might be discouraging and then also lead to just exasperation, giving up. I might be speaking from personal experience, who knows. But my wife, she's a musician, so that's very irregular. And then just with what we do is partially tied to the market, so that makes it a little more difficult. So we have experience doing it, and what we'd suggest and what we've seen work for not only ourselves, but a lot of people that we work with, just whether it's in sales or any other types of irregular income coming in, is figuring out, okay, what are those base needs? What's the list out? One, you have a budget, but two, now prioritize that budget. Put in order from most important to least important, and have food, transportation, necessary clothing, and housing are going to be the top four that absolutely must be in there. You might have some other absolute necessities that you want to put in there. Some giving can be an important one too. And so just whatever your personal budget consists of, make sure those are in priority level, and then assume worst case scenario. Build that budget, make it to where the baseline is going to be your minimum income that you've experienced in the last 12 months.
Like the least common denominator.
Exactly, yeah. Or if you're in a particular type of sales, project, okay, if this type of sales market does this, a down market, what's a down market look like? Build it off of that income. And so you always want to prepare for worst case scenario and prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And so now that you've got that budget built out by assuming worst case scenario on the income side of things, now just prioritize it. And so as the money comes in, you're paying off X, Y, and Z. And let's say, okay, you've got more than you know what to do with this month, or you have just a nice surplus. And so, okay, how do you deal with that surplus? There's two ways to go about it. One, you can just say, all right, what's next on that list?
Mm-hmm.
What's number 7 that I want to start knocking out, or I'm really passionate about saving for? Go tackle that. Or you can say, hey, I've got 4 things. I've got 7 other things that I want to do. I want to maybe eat out more this month. I want to put more in the debt, whatever it may be. Do it as a percentage. So let's just say you had 4 extra things, and you do 30% to 2 of them and 20% to the other 2. And so now you know every single month I'm systematically saving towards or paying off those additional items in the budget, but you're working towards them together. It's just 2 different ways. I'd figure out which way works best for you and your family. Sometimes you can be more excited about one and just want to go ahead and tackle it. That's personally the approach I take. I'm just a very direct person in that term, and so we just like to watch and knock one out one after the other. And so put those on your budget, make sure there's a list and have it very specified. This does require you to look at your budget every single month. That's probably the hardest part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
So the front end, it's time consuming setting up, but once you have it set in place, it becomes second nature. But you still have to make the time to do it.
You know how when you make a to-do list, you can cross things off?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sounds like that. You just make like a spending to-do list, and then you get to cross things off when the money comes in. I think that sounds kind of fun.
Which is why I do it that way, because I get way too much joy from crossing things off.
Type A's unite. All right. Second question that we'll tackle today. What budgeting tools do you recommend? There's the tool to create the budget, and then there's the plan to execute the budget and make sure that you're staying on top of it. So I'll talk about the tool first. You can be a pen and paper person. A lot of people, regardless of age, like this approach.
Mm-hmm.
You can create a spreadsheet, let the Excel or the Google Sheet do some of the math for you. There are a lot of apps out there that will help you track income and expenses as well. Whatever you do, it's important to come up with a system that is easy for you to use, intuitive, and convenient. If a spreadsheet works great for your best friend, but you hate Excel, don't do that. If Excel sounds like it would be the way for you to go, then don't write it down on a pen and paper. Do what's going to help you to maintain it and look back at it every single month and be consistent. Let's say, for example, that you are using pen and paper. What do you do once you've written out what your budget looks like to keep up with expenses to make sure that you're staying in line with the budget? You're going to track everything and write every single expense down. So whether it's pen and paper or whether it's a spreadsheet or an app, you've got to keep up with what you're spending. Record that on the spreadsheet, write it down on pen and paper, track it in the app. You've got to figure out a way to make sure that what you set out to do is actually being accomplished. A lot of apps will link bank accounts automatically, usually for a fee or a subscription, and sometimes it's not very intuitive, so you have to go back and double check. Is this a restaurant or is this an Amazon purchase? They don't always know that. That can be an easier way to keep up if you don't want to go in and type out in your Excel spreadsheet or write out every time you go to the gas station or buy something on Amazon. One option for tracking is to use some kind of envelope system. Dave Ramsey talks about using a cash envelope system. For example, if you have a spreadsheet and you've decided that $200 a month is going to be your grocery budget, instead of writing on your spreadsheet every time you go to Kroger, you can just put $200 in an envelope and take that with you to the grocery store. It's inconvenient in the way that you have to take it with you, but it's convenient in the way that you don't have to keep up with the expenses as much. You just know that when it's gone, it's gone. One modern alternative to this is the digital envelope system. I personally use this. If you have a bank that lets you have multiple checking accounts for free, create a different checking account for your main spending categories. For example, we have one for groceries, we have one for entertainment, and we have one for our kids. And every week we pay ourselves from our main checking account into each of these categories. I don't keep up with what I'm spending at the grocery store, but I do take my grocery store debit card and I check the app before I walk in the door. If there's enough money in there to do what we need, then I know I'm good. But if I get to checkout and it looks like I'm going to be over, then I'll put a couple of things back. So whatever you use to create your budget and stick with it, get creative. It just has to work for you, and you have to make it easy to track and keep up with. Would you add anything to that?
Just say there's no one right answer here. I know a lot of people that cash envelope system is the way to go. And personally, there were better things that worked for me. I'm a big Excel nerd, and so I love Excel. And so that's where we map ours out. So don't get discouraged if one doesn't work for you or it's tough. It's going to be draining to an extent, but that's part of the work you put in on the front end. And there's a lot of apps out there that make it a lot easier these days to track. If you remember back in the day, some of y'all balancing the checkbook, I remember doing that. We don't have to do that as much anymore, but if that's what you want to choose to do, that option's still available. Yeah. So just find what works best for you.
And try on a couple. If you try an app and you don't like it, try a different one. You don't have to marry any of these. But once you find one that fits, you'll know, and you can keep going with it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, and come back next week where we'll talk about some more budgeting questions.
See you guys.
See ya.